What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Captain's Lounge. I have with me today a very, very, very special guest. He is no stranger to content that I've had out before. You've been on the old podcast for then and now, but this is Donchi's first inaugural time on the Captain Diesel's Dojo slash the Captain's Lounge. The Black Masatadonte. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing, my man?
Yo, what's good? What's good? Good to be here.
Yeah, dog. So for people that are watching this, I've kind of taken this in a little bit of a different direction. I'm still going to have streams where we discuss music or different things like that are out that I don't feel like scripting. But I think what I really want to start doing is speaking to more creators of various sizes of creation, I guess, or success, just to get an idea and also give more information to people watching as to what content creation is and how difficult it can be and just some different avenues people may have in regards to creating. Because I know for me, starting out, I had to figure a lot of things out. I was blessed to have certain people like Donchi or other creators that kind of gave me some game here and there. But I feel like having it all in like one stimulus package, I think would have helped me out a lot.
The creator stimulus package.
Hey
That could
man.
so be a thing.
So the first thing I want to ask you, we're gonna take it back, but not back to your childhood, back to the beginning of you creating content. What do you feel like was like the most difficult thing about you starting out? Because I know you started out doing well, hell no, I think you were doing skits before the Xenoverse stuff, right? You were doing like
Yeah.
comedy stuff.
To be honest, the first thing I started doing was dancing.
Mm.
That was like the first thing because that was like my main hobby back then. And then I went into the skits and then I kind of delved more into gameplay.
Mm.
And it's funny because I feel like it's the thing that held me back the most has been like a constant thing. With just like the performing arts in me. It's just getting out of my head. Like I feel like there is it's even now, like there's always some voice telling you, like, nah, that's stupid for no reason. Like you ask yourself why it's stupid, and most of the reasons you give yourself is, well, this person's gonna say that or this person's gonna say that. But I don't I feel like once in those moments when I am just able to like be free and just forget about whatever inhibitions I might have, that's when I make the content that I just have a lot of fun with, you know? It's tough though.
Mm.
It's tough.
Yeah, so because I think one thing I hear all the time from people starting out is obviously like niching down, finding your niche, and not trying to do as much. Do you feel like you kind of had that general idea starting out, or did you feel like you maybe because I know you had a big thing in general where you kind of like your content has kind of transformed a couple different times over the years. Again,
Yeah.
from the Xenoverse stuff to some of the honest gaming history stuff, and then you kind of did some of the manhwa, and like anime. Well, you were kind of dabbling in anime beforehand, but at what point do you feel like you needed to change, or like what was the first time you felt like, all right, I need to kind of make a big change to my content, and what were the difficulties around that?
I would say, funny enough, the time where it happened was definitely more recently than you would think. I would say it was like last year.
Mm,
I always heard the idea of like, niche down, you gotta niche down. If you don't niche down, your channel's gonna get confused and whatever, whatever. And I just honestly I just didn't listen to it, to be completely honest. I should have, but I just didn't listen to the advice.
mhm,
I just kind of felt like my channel should be a bucket of all the things I kind of find interesting, so I could like
mhm,
talk to like my audience about it, and then we could all kind of geek out on this thing that we find interesting together. But figured out the hard way that, like, yes, there is the fun part about creating. There is a community aspect and sharing your opinions about all these things with people. However, there's also the business aspect, So I was thinking of it like I was like thinking of it as like a viewer, and I was thinking like looking at myself and looking at how I interact with other content creators, and I was thinking, you know what, like when game theory, when MatPat was still doing game theory, when he
mhm,
delved into territory that I didn't really care for, I didn't watch it. I would come back when there were things that I would like, but when there are things that I felt like were out of the realm that I came there for, I also didn't watch it. So I
mhm,
realized that, like, man, I'm doing all this stuff, but for the audience, it's like you have the people who are there for the manhwas, and maybe there are a few people who are there for everything, but that's like such a small percentage, and it was just getting more and more confusing. And I thought, like, you can, like, this is not even something where it's like you got to be a hard ass about it. You can just split up the channels. Like you can make a different channel that can be where all you can make different buckets for the different interests you have and then share that equally into these different avenues of creation and whatever. And now everything it just feels better. Like I feel like I think there was a point where I would drop something in honest gaming history and I would feel guilty because it's like, wow, I just dropped the manhwa video like yesterday. Um and then same thing with like if I were to stream a video game, like I would be like, damn, I just streamed like a manhwa like last week. Like people are probably confused. And it definitely I noticed it in the comments as well. And I think this is one of the things that like people sometimes neglect is like listening to your audience. Cause a lot of times, sometimes they'll lead you astray, but there are also the times where they know what they want and they will let
Mm,
you know what they want. So it became very clear that there were a lot of people who were there for a long time that were like, bro, what happened to honest gaming history? What happened to conscience? What happened to all this stuff? You know? So
mhm.
yeah, I was just like, I gotta niche down at least here. And then I could still no one's saying that I can't still delve into whatever I want to delve into. I just gotta make sure it's going into the proper slot.
So to that point, I think one of the fears I had early on, which is kind of like a gift and a curse of my first video that I feel like really did well was like I think I did my first Power Ranger video. I did like Ninja Storm, and in my head I'm like, oh, I love Power Rangers. I'll do some Power Ranger stuff. I know the fan base is pretty solid. We'll do that, and then it hit me. I'm like, damn, this is at like 46K views or whatever else. I'm like, am I going to become the Power Ranger guy?
Mm,
And I'm like, damn, I love Power Rangers, but I don't love Power Rangers enough to do a whole channel based around just the Power Rangers.
yeah.
And I'm like, and plus, there's only like so much I can really cover for real. So then I'm like, all right, cool. I did like 4 or 5 of those. It got even more sad because every one did relatively well to the size of where my channel was. I think at that point I wasn't even I think I maybe got to 1K subs, but every video was doing either the 40K as the high as the first one, or we're at like the 6 to 2K range. And I'm like, all right, cool. I need to pivot now and like change that up. At what point when you were listening, because at least for me, a difficulty I had is that I don't think I had with you was the whole aspect of I didn't have a community built up enough that was
Mm,
voicing what they wanted. It was like they'll watch these videos, but they're more of they're the silent. They're what majority of YouTube watchers are. They're the silent watchers. They'll watch the channel, maybe give it a like, but for the most part, you're watching the video and then you're clicking off of the video whenever you're done with it. How do you go
right.
about like gauging what you should do if you're not getting that feedback?
So it's tough because like it's viewers gonna view, you know, like they're
Mhm,
like I feel like going back to the whole idea of like thinking of your like putting yourself in the viewer's shoes, like there are a lot of times where like I hear the creator say something like, yo, let me know what you think about this in the comments and stuff, and I'm just like it
mhm,
goes in through one ear out the other.
mhm,
But I notice, and I feel like it's what I've kind of been doing for me as well. And I definitely noticed it with Super Eye Patch Wolf, who's probably going to come up a lot in like just examples that I think of creators who kill it in terms of like having a lot of variety in their content. I
mhm,
think for that kind of stuff, it's very important to make sure you put a large dose of you in that video, and like not just like you as in like I'm gonna make a funny haha joke or whatever. Like I try to like the Mega Man video, for example, I tried
mhm,
starting that off with like a personal story so that it's like, hey, you're getting my connection with Mega Man here. So that like when you watch this, you're not just getting a story about Mega Man, you're getting a story told by me about Mega
mhm,
Man. So it's kind of by slowly doing that, by like slowly like giving them more doses of you, it's almost like the viewer sees, oh wow, there is somebody behind the camera, which sounds crazy to think, but it's like the same aspect as like when you watch voice actors in the booth versus when you just watch the cartoon. These
mhm,
voices just kind of seem like they belong to the character, so why think deeper than it? But then when you go into the booth, you see shit, there's a face behind these voices. So now I kind of care
mhm,
more. Now, like if they were to maybe like start a GoFundMe and be like, I want to make my own animated series, I feel more inclined to do it because just because they showed me them in the booth, not even like it didn't have to be like good footage, just like they showed me what it looked like behind the scenes, you know? But I
mhm,
think that's like it's like slowly doing that in the videos that you know really work. And then also I try to be like completely honest with people. Like I feel like with not with like the viewers on like with the community post, like it's if I
mhm,
feel like it's time to pivot, like I'll just put up a post to whoever the audience is and be
Mhm.
like, "Yo, this is how it's gonna be." And though it may be a hard switch, because I notice even with the audience that I have, people don't see a lot of the news that I post. So like even
Mhm.
now, since the webtoon channels are switched, a lot of people are just like I got a comment the other day saying, "I'm disappointed in you. You're not doing webtoons anymore." And I'm just like, man, if you've seen the 10 posts I put up about doing webtoons, if you saw my webtoon channel with 70 goddamn videos on there, then you would
Mhm.
feel stupid. But at the same time, I can't blame them because YouTube is just like it's great for videos, but it's not really good, especially when you don't really have a large community already. It's not really good for gauging what your community wants. So it's kind of like like once again give them large doses of me, and like I kind of just throw questions out there a little bit. Like sometimes I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, if you want me to cover this, let me know." And sometimes that thing could be something completely outside of whatever I'm talking about. As long as
Mhm.
as it's still within the realm, like I guess like in your case, if you were like, "Yo, I'm switching from Power Rangers to like another series from like the 90s that had a really big toy line like Transformers." That's
Mhm.
like a pivot that you can I feel like you can do if like you're talking about a Power Rangers comic, but you want to later talk about Transformers. Because then
Right.
already it's like, damn, not only do I see the person behind this, he probably about to do this with Transformers, you know? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's but it's still, I feel like it's still so even as I say, it's like a long process. It's like it's low key like you're filtering things out by continuously rolling it over and over and over again. Like you're delivering the video that you want to deliver, and then like you're gonna run into the people who are like, "I thought you were the Power Ranger guy," but you gotta keep on going, and then sooner or later,
Right.
the same people are gonna be like, "Damn, I didn't even know Power Ranger. I didn't even know Transformers was a thing. I was just here for Power Rangers, but this is lit."
Mhm.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's definitely it's so so worth it because I feel like that's how you turn those viewers who came for one video. That's how you turn them to people who just come for you. Because that's what we all. I feel like that's like the goal for everyone. Like you just want to be able to. Damn, I feel like talking about X Men today. X Men. Everybody watches. you know.
Something I'm curious about, and I think this is also something that I've kinda, like, gotten more into trying to do with scripts, or not even just the scripts, 'cause I feel like I'll write it in scripts, but more so when I'm actually reading it out, is being more animated. And that's something that I've noticed with a lot of your stuff through, maybe you have more of a history of it because you were doing comedy at one point, so you kinda have a better hold on how to project, I guess, emotion or emote emotion. Because I know I felt like me and sometimes I've seen a lot of other video essayists that I watched when I was watching YouTube, like will have this whole thing of like you get stuck into reading the script versus delivering the lines, if that makes any sense.
Yup. Hmm.
And I look at guys like you, or I look at like Cosmonaut Marcus, because his script, he does it in like a
Yeah.
great way and how he delivers it.
It's
How did
so
you
dry
how
and so good.
it's weird, like, cause he has that unique style of, like, to your point, it's like a dry humor, but then he'll have moments where he'll, like where he when he gets out of his body, that's how you know he's like, "Alright, he really is passionate about this thing because he doesn't
yeah,
wanna
he's
do
in
this."
here. Yeah.
How did you go about, like, formulating your style in particular of delivery on camera?
So I get it's I guess it's hard because like growing up in my friend groups, I can think back to like multiple conversations I've had with my friend.
Mm,
I got very enthusiastic about just like restating shit that I saw on
mhm.
shows, video games, or whatever. Like I was a guy who would ask like, "Do you care about spoilers?" And if you say yes, I'll be like, "Damn." and just like and I'll keep my mouth shut, but I'll be so tight cuz like I the story, like seeing the story would get me so excited that it's like, dang, I gotta tell somebody about it. So it's like I gotta like I all that excitement builds up into like me telling somebody else about it. So I kind of just took that and put it into like my work. Now
Mhm,
with writing scripts, it's definitely hard because I remember my girlfriend once looked at one of my scripts from like couple of years ago, I think back in 2021 or something like that.
mhm,
Like way back then, and she was like, "Yeah, it seems like you're more so reading something here. Like not you're not really saying something. Like you jump out a little bit to put in the jokes, but it sounds like you're more so reading." So there
mhm,
was a point where I just said, "All right, your prose is you're not writing like how you talk, which is a problem." So I kind of did like a few, like I did like little writing exercises. I purposely did videos where I did not write a script to try and get my brain in the idea of like just flowing, like coming out with the things that I want to say and like having a certain cadence to it so it all has a flow. And then after like going through all that like mini training, and also watching a bunch of videos from creators that I liked,
Mhm.
I ended up just kind of like somehow putting that into writing. It's like, like sometimes what helps me as well is that, like, if I have a thought for a line, I'll just write it down somewhere.
Mhm.
Because, like, to give you an example, like the Soul Calibur video, there is a giant relationship chart. So just seeing the relationship chart, I was like, "Wow, it'd be cool if I started the video saying, you see this shit? My job is to make you understand all of this in an hour.'" Like, something like that, I would just write down, and then that's like a pop off point where I'm like, all right, cool, I could riff off of this. And it's kind of like I find my flow off of those really like those big moments. I still find myself right like certain sections. I'm like, okay, now I'm honestly just like I'm just telling y'all what's going on. But
Right.
I'm finding more so what helps is that like as I'm writing, I'm like, think of it as if you were telling your friend who knew nothing about this. Like your personal friend, like a friend that you're able to like talk the shit with. Like you don't have to worry about being formal. I think being formal in videos sometimes is just don't like I found
Yeah.
myself trying to do like the whole pretentious diction, trying to be like I'm gonna use big words and like I
Mhm.
realized like bro, that SAT shit, does people see right through it. I noticed it when I see certain videos where people just like say shit that they don't need to say. I see it a lot in movie reviews where it's like, yeah, you could have just said this in a simple way. Like you're just trying to show off that you're smart. It's fine that you're smart, but you ain't got to show it off that like that, you know? But yeah, I feel like just treating the camera or treating your audience as that one close friend that's always down to listen to whatever you got to say.
That's a fire metaphor. I'm not gonna lie, that's a fire way to look at it.
Like treat yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
I appreciate it,
Um,
yeah.
'Cause I know for me, 'cause I every now and then, 'cause I it's tough. I don't know if you were like this. I feel like most creators are like this where you hate hearing your own voice. So like
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for me to go back and watch a video I put out yesterday. Hell, it's hard for me. Like if I go to Akash and he sends me like a video back, I'm like, damn, I trust you, bro. I trust you. I trust you. I know it's good. Um, but I've looked back at older stuff and I'm like, damn, I'm just like reading this like line for line. And to your point, for some people, they enjoy that type of stuff. But when I'm looking at I always try to look at my content from the gauge of would I watch this in my free time or would I enjoy this? Because I feel like half the time I watch YouTube videos more than I watch anything else, which
Mm.
is kind of bad for me now because I feel like I don't get to enjoy it the same now because I'm always looking at what I can steal. Um, but my biggest thing is, or at least it was, going from one writing a script in general because I feel like I would write a paper in high school or college, but like how would I write this in a way to where easily it's easy for me to read. Honestly, that's when I found out how important punctuation was. Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
god. Me trying to read a script without putting a comma in a line, I'm like, "Oh, this is what commas are for."
Yeah.
Because it would not flow well for me at all trying to read a line without a fucking comma in it. Um, but I promise to get to the point here. My I guess my next question in that regard would be, what was your journey like in just the writing aspect in general? Because I feel like you do a good one thing that I love that you do, and it's something I've tried to like steal and model a lot of my stuff after even early on, is with something like honest gaming history, you're giving an information dump, but it's not boring in that way. Like I didn't feel like I'm just getting a lecture. Like I'm getting a ridiculous amount of information, and at least even if it's like one of the like I think one of the God of War videos was maybe like 20 to 30 minutes initially. I'm getting a shit ton of information, but it doesn't feel like I'm watching a college lecture at that time. How did you find that balance of like delivering information in a entertaining way, I guess, and writing that script to get to that point?
A lot of rereading. Like what I do, I remember I took like a random writing class on Skillshare. And something that she said that's the one thing that she said that stood out to me was read your shit out loud. And that
Mm,
changed everything for me because then it became like when I would read it and I would just kind of read it how I'm talking to you right now to try and be as casual as possible. Once I start hearing the actually in there, I'm like, nah, 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 take that out. Like, so
Mhm.
it's kind of it's a weird balance of because you when you're writing and the good thing about this is that I like telling stories and like I see these as just giant ass stories. Um the when it's I see it as kind of like doing a movie a little bit. So you want to trust the intelligence of the audience and know they're going to get certain things just from you saying it. Like so there are certain things where I won't go too in depth because it's like I trust you know what I'm talking about here. I'm just going to leave it at that. Um and then what's it called? From there, it's kind of also like stopping yourself from saying too much because you kind of want them to pause and think, you
Mm,
know? So it's I guess it's like knowing when to take away the parts that just feel like you're drawing on and on about nonsense and knowing when to like keep those parts. Cause I feel like going into the writing a script is a lot about it's pretty much going to really hype points and finding a
mm,
really unique and easy way to go to those different unique points. So I try to like have little maybe little pop culture jokes, maybe little like like pokes at like real life, or maybe I'll make fun of a character in a game or something. I'm gonna make fun of a character in the game, or I'll like drop my opinion on like maybe somebody did something, and I'm like, wow, that was stupid.
mm,
I'll do things like that to help you pop back in because it is like with just the lore. It is really hard to keep people engaged because if somebody just read me lore, I would be bored too. I remember, funny enough, a long time ago when I first started it, I remember it was when I was doing research for the Assassin's Creed Honest Gaming History, like years ago. I
mm,
found a video that straight up just read the wiki page about
mm,
Assassin's Creed 2, and it was just that. And like I didn't know it from hearing it. I knew it from hearing it, but I didn't know it from like the script. I knew it more so because he was speaking like this, and then the thing, whatever, boom. Like it was very boring and very monotone, and you could tell like homie's just reading something.
right.
Um, but yeah, I feel like it's just what going back to the whole thing of throwing yourself in there more, finding a way to like finding a way to get people more engaged with it, whether you're poking fun at a character, you're talking about a different you're poking fun at a point in your video, you're talking about how something happened in your video that's kind of crazy, like either or. It's like you kind of want to it sounds messed up, but you kind of do have to throw those little engagement bits a little bit
Mhm,
to keep people involved. I feel like it's been this thing attached to content creation for so long, and it's always seen as negative. But it's with everything, you know. Like good professors, the reason why they're so good at teaching is because they're able to give us information in a more relatable manner. Like someone who could find a way to make calculus 2 interesting if they got to use engagement bits, I don't see a problem with that. You
right.
know? Yeah. So I think it's a big bit of that, like knowing how to do throw in those engagement bits and doing it organically. Please, Christ, do not just throw a stupid ass joke just because just because you think people are gonna laugh at it because it's popping now. Like I feel like what a lot of people are doing in like the trendy area of YouTube is
Mm,
like they'll throw in a gyat here or a skibbity toilet there or a riz there,
mhm,
and then it's like, all right, cool. Oh, don't forget no cap. Then you know you got yourself a banger. Like, yeah, it's knowing when to do it, and even if you feel if you I feel like if you wrote that joke and in the moment you were like, "Oh shit. Yeah, that's a good one." As long as it's not like offensive or anything, I think
mhm.
it's worth keeping. At the very least, if they cringe, you got to comment.
Right. You get some engagement out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the next thing I want to kind of following as the outline of the content in general, we kind of got into the writing. Now I want to kind of discuss some of the like the production aspect of it, and more so the pacing and also the team aspect of it. Because one thing that I have been blessed to have, I guess, like the last couple months, which I think you allow for, is finding like my designated editor. I feel like for a while I was like getting this video done by this guy and this video done by this guy, and they would come out solid, but they wouldn't feel like they would have like a similar editing style. It would be kind of hard to communicate what I wanted from this guy that this last guy did well. How did you go about building out, one, finding like your team or like your group of guys that work on your stuff, and then two, finding like a pacing to get those videos done? I think obviously you the whole benefit of having a team is to get things done more efficiently and in higher yield, obviously. How did you find that pacing, and then how did you tie that into finding the right people to help you get that pacing of amount of videos or quality of video?
So hmm, I feel like with getting the editor, it was definitely touch and go. Like with
Mm,
Akash, like he hit me up, so that was great. Like that was I was really lucky in that. But when it comes to like the other editors, I it was honestly just a lot of like work with you, try, and then like if it just didn't work out, then it didn't work out. I've ran into editors, and it unfortunately like that process does suck. I've run into editors
mm,
before this video. I've run into editors who straight up did stop working on the video and then hit me up a month later saying, "Yo, sorry, I stopped working on the video." I've had editors, what's it called? Not listen to what I've said. I've
mhm,
had editors completely ignored what's it called? Edits, like critiques that I've had on like made edits and stuff.
mhm.
Um, but I feel like from going through all that, I've learned that like, the best thing to do when you're working with an editor, one, don't go on Fiverr. Please don't go on Fiverr. Do not go on Fiverr, bro. Don't do it. That's like if you
Oh
take
my
anything from this,
god.
do not go on Fiverr for an editor for your YouTube video. Please. That's the first thing.
Bro,
um,
I was getting scammed. I think I
bro.
told you about when I was looking. I was paying this one
Yeah,
guy, and the video was great, and he did like my biggest video, but I was paying this dude like 350 for a video, like a singular video, and it would take like 2 weeks. And I'm working with Akash, and I'm like, I'm paying him a good little bit, but again, that's more so because I have him on. He's on salary at this point. But the
yeah,
fact that I'm probably paying like a third of what I'm paying him for a month on a singular video, and then Akash is getting me back a better quality video in a crazy faster amount of time, with also giving me insight on the channel, what he thinks will work better. I'm like, yeah, bro, I was getting robbed.
yeah.
Fiverr, oh my god,
Yeah,
I was
because I
getting
feel
robbed.
like when working with an editor, it has to be thought of as like a collaboration, not a commission. Because like
Mhm,
when you just think of it as like, oh, I'm paying this person to like edit my work and stuff, like that's how you get the Fiverr folks who like just do the flowchart edits that are pretty much seen in any documentary channel
mhm,
nowadays. But I feel like you have to like one of the best place for me is going on Twitter. I usually I only look at editors. Like you guys can like do this if you would like to as well. I like basically go to editors that I've worked with in the past that I've liked, and or
mm,
just editors in general that I like. And if their commissions are closed, I would honestly go through the people that they follow and look for whoever else is an editor and then find
mhm,
them. YT Jobs is another good place. A lot of the people that I find on Twitter also end up having accounts on YT Jobs. But yeah, no, it's I feel like you really gotta Twitter helped because you could find their vibe. Like I knew what kind of
mhm,
edits I wanted as like after I started edit after I was then like been editing my videos for years, watching other people edit, I knew what kind of style I wanted. And like seeing other editors and seeing their like editing reels and stuff, you can figure out, okay, no, that style would mesh greatly with what I'm doing here. So
mhm,
it's kind of like seeing how they work on their social media and like deciding whether or not it's a good fit for you two to work together. From there all I can really say is just be as polite as you can. um kind of I feel like even if it's a bad experience, kindness, you should always lead with kindness if you can, because like
mhm,
in we're working, to be completely frank here, we're working in a spot where we're both kind of we're each party's getting screwed. Like we're making content that should be like this stuff is it should be like funded. Like this stuff is we're giving this content out for free, and it takes a
mhm,
lot of money and time to create, and as creators, we don't have the money like these big studios have. So we can't pay the video editors what the rate that like professional video editors would get paid, even though, these guys are doing the same, if not sometimes more than what these professional video editors are doing. I say professional, like the YouTube editors are not professional as well. The high executive
Yeah,
editors, I guess
studio,
you would
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
corporate editors or whatever. But yeah, no, it's I feel like because of that, like that's always a thing in my mind that like unfortunately I can't pay you what you're actually worth because I'm not getting my funds of what I'm actually worth, you know? And
Mhm.
YouTube just don't work that way. That's the unfortunate part. But I think like, always like trying to be kind, keeping the doors open because you never know. Like maybe you commission an editor and then you decide, hey, I want to work with you like full time. Some editors are not really down for like being only your editor, like they'll rather work on
Right.
a gig basis and stuff. But yeah, it's a shit ton of trial and error. It's so much trial and error, but I guarantee you, when you find your editor, you will be so happy you did because even when like even I feel like even when it comes to like, damn, I want to change up my style, you can just talk to your editor. Like I'm happy to be working with people who like when I tell them my ideas, they give me feedback and they seem that they want to be involved. Once I feel
Mhm.
like you're not really in it, you just kind of want to do this to make a quick buck. It's not that I don't want to pay you, and it's not that I don't think you're doing good work, but I just feel like the effort that you're gonna bring is not gonna be at the level that I would like, because the last thing I want is to give my video to someone who's just gonna do it like I'm doing a regular 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
I feel like you also have that whole thing where, like, that person learned you more and how to edit you in the best way. Because I feel like there'll be days where, like, I think recently, like a video I put out recently, when I recorded it, I was like dead, and I knew I needed to get it out now because I was already kind of behind on it. And I recorded the thing, and it was also a video like without a script. So I'm like, "Hey, bro," I told him, I'm like, "Hey, man, if this is ass recording you, just don't even worry about working on this one. Just scrap this one." He's like, "Nah, man, we can make it work." Da da da. Da." He sent it back to me. I'm like, "Damn, how did you make me sound like this?" 'Cause I remember when I recorded this, and I didn't sound like this. And I think he just has a understanding of how to best emphasize me. And then even then, to your point, I'll get back notes on like, "Hey, bro, maybe try to present this in this manner or talk about these topics. I've noticed you get more passionate about this in this area." And
Yeah,
it's to your point, it made I already enjoyed the whole thing of creating a YouTube video or just being creative in general, but having somebody I trust. That's my biggest thing with my editors now is that I trust somebody because if I had the time to do it all myself, I probably would still do it myself. 'Cause I started off editing all my own stuff, but it's like, all right, full time job now. I'm in grad school too. I just don't have the time to edit this
yeah,
at the quality that I would want to, because I would shortchange myself. So I found somebody that I trust, and then they know me like I know myself in regards to this content stuff, and it's crazy. So
yeah,
yeah, dude.
yeah.
But
Feels good.
to move forward, I wanna get into kind of the well, you kind of spoke on some of the financial aspect, but more so how that ties into the mental health aspect of content creation. Because I think especially for people starting out, and this is why you see people kind of drop it or get really inconsistent with it, is the aspect of working super hard or super long on a particular video or particular concept you're passionate about, and that video just not performing well.
Yeah,
How do you go about? Because especially like I feel like maybe as you get into a bigger size of a creator, you kind of have not a quota. How do I put this? You have your median, I guess, that you're used to seeing.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
when a video that you worked a long time on drops below that median substantially or to a certain point or it's not as successful as you would hope it to be, how do you kind of deal with that like rebound of like, all right, especially for a smaller creator, like I just gotta keep going or keep going and keep going.
Yeah, like I feel like it's definitely hard to bounce back, but it's funny because this happened recently with the Echo video. Um, I feel like with that, what helps is that no matter what, I was very proud of that video. So that it
Mhm.
was very like that backed it up a lot. And it just I focused on the good. Like, I focused on the good comments that I was getting. I remembered that,
Mhm.
like, the YouTube algorithm, because I think that we all have to remember, we all have to remind ourselves, getting traction on YouTube is so hard. Like, no matter what video you hear, like whatever, no matter what expert you hear says, oh, all you gotta do is focus on retention and have an hour long video, and you're like, no.
Mhm.
Getting in like the up next, getting in anybody's up next, getting on anybody's YouTube feed is difficult, especially when you don't have an audience. So to me, like I think at that time it had like 5,000 views, even though like all the Mega Man videos at that point had already gotten to like 20K views.
Mhm.
So I was just like, 5,000 people watched this video, even though I have the Mega Man stuff going on. And from what I can tell, the majority of those people seem to like it. And
Mhm.
even then, I was just like, I'm just happy I got to give my boy Echo some shine. Like I feel like there is I remember reading somewhere that like a lot of people get so stuck in chasing after things that they walk away from ever feeling satisfied. We gotta
Mhm.
feel satisfied. Like I was satisfied with that. I was satisfied that I put it out. It was out there. I think right now it's like 11,000 views. That's 11,000 people who watched it, more than a lot of my other videos, and once again, that by itself, like looking at it on paper, having that get 11,000 videos on YouTube is a feat. Getting 1,000 views on YouTube
Mhm.
is a feat. That's something to be proud of. It's really hard to get into that if you're like if you're getting hit with so many wins, it's so hard to get hit with that L and just smile and walk away. So I definitely think that you should like take your time. Like if you got to walk away, walk away. Like I'm not, if this is like your way of life, don't stop creating because
Right.
one video did poorly. But like if you got to take a little break, play a video game, do something that you like dead ass, like just give yourself some space to just like sit with it. And then after, for me, sometimes it will take like a week or so after, like not a week before I'm down to create, like a week before I start feeling down. Honestly, if a video does bad, that's like it. I feel like it's kind of toxic, but that's my motivation to get revenge and do better.
Mhm.
But I feel like you still like I don't give myself that time to just sit down and be like sit with myself and be like, all right, the video did poorly. I'm sad, and that's okay. But the video doing poorly is also okay. Like it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I feel like that would be like my bit on that.
It's a drug, dog.
Yeah.
I when I when because when that Spike video did the way it did, what I mean in my head, ego sky high. I'm looking at because I'm already watching YouTube videos in general. I'm looking at like creators I watch. I'm like, damn, this did better than his videos, than his video. He's got an audience and shit. Like I'm sitting on these niggas.
Yup, yup, yup.
And then I'm like, I post the next one. It does okay. I'm like, ooh, all right. I didn't make it like I thought I made it. One more, I think there's one I put out that I I didn't put a lot of time into it, but I put a pretty solid time into it. It was like at 50 views for like 3 days. I'm like, oh, this isn't doing what this other one did. And it went from this super high of like, damn, 100K views, 30, like thousands of people looking at it. Da, 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 da. Then what even helped it even more was the fact that I was monetized at that point. So we got a little bit of bread off that. I'm like, damn, this
Yeah.
YouTube money look crazy. I can do this full
Yeah.
time. That next video hit that didn't do well. And I was like, I didn't go into a depression, but I was like, damn, this fucking hurts.
It
Because
sucks.
as you get more and more views, it's like 10 views used to do it for you. Now it's 50. Now 100. Now a couple hundred. Now it's like, all right, if I don't get at least 1,000, now I feel like I failed. It's I had to kind of get back into the mentality I was before I had a lot of success in the video. Because if not, I can see how this fucks with people, especially if you're doing it full time and like your livelihood is dependent on it. I can see
Mhm.
how this can get into those dangerous mental health territories for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, what another thing that I do is like if worse comes to worse, I just start telling myself sweet nothings. I just be like, I will go in my journal or I'll go in the mirror, I'll be like, you're the shit. You made God of War. And now I just added like
Mhm.
a whole I made God of War. You made the God of War video. But like, and now I look at the Mega Man thing and like to me, that's just like that's another notch to add if I ever feel down. I'm gonna just look in the mirror and be like, you made a 6 hour long epic about Mega Man. Are you kidding me? You have no right to complain. So yeah, it's like just like remind yourself about your W's. And also remember that like though like I don't believe the algorithm is out to get anybody, the
Mhm.
algorithm is a bitch. Like the algorithm is so finicky because it's mostly based on viewer experience, not the creator experience. So
Mm,
even if the viewer subscribe to somebody, if they don't watch that one new video, they ain't never gonna see you again. And it's
mhm,
so much more. And nowadays I feel like I almost I, I almost want to say subscriber count, like it doesn't mean absolutely nothing because that's like your first audience who's gonna see the video. So that's like it's still very important. But like, yeah, nah, like it's just not as high. It's not as important as it used to be, just because the algorithm is so much more focused on like, okay, this person watched videos about Power Rangers, therefore they're probably going to want to watch more videos about Power Rangers. Oh, this person's video about Power Rangers is doing well. I'm going to show him this person's video about Power Rangers until they click on it. Or if they don't click on it, oh well. Yeah, it's not, it works in mysterious ways, and we're fighting a battle that like we can't really, you're not gonna guess the algorithm. So it's honestly best to just be like, I want to make shit that I'm proud of. Because then, like,
mhm,
when you strike gold, you strike hard. Because at the worst thing to do, I feel like, is when you put your you put out a video that's like some nothing video you know you didn't really care about, that blows up, and then your people are coming to you thinking that you do one thing, and you're like, that's not that, you don't understand. That was that was a random
mhm.
one-off thing I wasn't even trying to really do. Yeah, you just gotta keep it. It sucks to say because like you're definitely gonna do. I have those moments where I'm just like, fuck it, man. I'm what? But yeah, you just gotta keep pushing, and like until obviously like if you're early in the journey and it's getting to the point where it's just really not working and it's messing up with your real life, maybe walk away at least for a little
Mm,
bit. Like don't get too committed if this is not something that you need. But
mm.
yeah, I feel like keep going at it, and just focus on the passion. It's about the journey, not the end goal.
Now to kind of transition off of that a little bit in regards to the concept of evergreen content, because that's something that's again, it's a buzzword you hear a lot in this field. How much thought process do you put into making a video evergreen so it potentially blows up later on? Or maybe if you had an experience of like a video that was did bad and then you go back, oh, this thing popped later on because of whatever show came out. How do you go about planning for that, or do you plan for that? And I guess if you have a story about a video like that.
Honestly, so I like evergreen to the point where I would say that like a lot of the content I gear to be evergreen. So
Mm,
it's kind of I sometimes it's like an afterthought when I think about when I'm gonna make it. The most thing I think about, like I feel like for honest gaming history, the most I think about is like, okay, what game is coming out around the time where this video is gonna get done.
mhm,
So like Doom is a perfect example. When I knew the Mega Man video was about to be finished, I was like, I can go in different directions. Like City of Wolves was coming out, so I was like, I can go back into Fatal Fury and then talk about that.
mm,
Um Doom was going in, so I can make a third remaster of my Doom video. A lot of different games are coming out. So to me, I'm just like, what's the most feasible thing I can cover? And then also what's something that I feel like people just want to know about? Because one could argue and say, why didn't you do an honest gaming history on Claire Obscure Expedition 33, right? But to
mm,
me, I'm like, that's in a TRPG game that's very story based. Like, if you need me to tell you the story of Expedition 33, either you haven't played the game, and to me, I'm like, you should just play the game. Like, I'm not going to do this game justice. Just play the game. Or if you
mm,
play the game, you were not watching the cutscene straight up because they told you everything.
mhm,
Like, so, so it's like kind of looking at what's happening on the calendar in terms of video games and video game releases, and then thinking about what the people want, which sometimes like to kind of, I wouldn't say contradict my last point, but like because sometimes like the audience will say they want this, but they don't know what the algorithm thinks the audience wants.
right.
So your audience will say, yo, make this Pokemon video, but the streets actually want you to make a Street Fighter video because Street
Mm,
Fighter 6 is coming out, you know? So sometimes it's like I think about the videos that popped off. Um for me, like right now, it's definitely a lot of my Capcom stuff. And I'm like,
mm,
all right, what do people want? When should I drop it? And then I think what helps with evergreen content is like I always have my safety hand. Like right now, my safety hand, my safety hand is like these are series that I can do, and I know for a fact these videos will pop off. Like, I have no doubt. Right now, my backhand is Metroid, Kingdom Hearts, Halo, Gears of War, and I would say Battlefield, but I feel like right now it's Tekken, either Tekken or Mortal Kombat. Like, those are like the game, those are like the evergreen videos that I'm like, if I like, worst comes to worst, if I have no ideas, no plans or anything,
Mm,
these are video ideas that I can do and they will for sure hit. Because those are just things to me, like, everybody talks about the Kingdom Hearts storyline being confusing to the point where people who never played the game talk about how the Kingdom Hearts storyline is confusing. Um,
mhm.
fucking every Halo's so popular now that, and they're so focused on FPS that, like, who wouldn't want to know what the hell's actually going on? Because I could definitely see a bunch of people who played Halo for the multiplayer, not the story. Bless you.
Appreciate
Um,
it.
but yeah, it's like having your backhand and then having your safety hand and then having your the keeping track of what's going on in the world and then seeing kind of where it's at. Like, for anybody who does video game stuff, I could say right now, a Devil May Cry video would do wonders. A Devil May Cry video, I feel like, is like that. If you're trying to make any video essay thing right now, video idea, compare the Devil May Cry new anime with the Devil May Cry old anime. Boom. There you go.
I didn't realize it was so controversial until I did. Where is this at? I know I did a video on it. No, I didn't. I did like one talking about or like I did like a reaction to somebody else's thing. I did one about adaptations in general, but I should have made that a whole thing about just Devil May Cry. Honestly, looking at that,
Yo, I
um,
once it's like
because
that
I
first
I
trailer
enjoyed the
hit.
series, bro. Once I heard Evanescence is back with a song, and I heard Afterlife. I think because I listened to the song before I watched it, the show. I was like, yeah, yeah, this is it. This is
Yeah.
like you couldn't have got a better band to have like the mood music for this fucking show.
Oh yeah, like I didn't even. The thing was that, like, I didn't even think of that. Like last thing I thought about was freaking was that whole setup. But when I heard it, I was like, oh no, this is this is perfect. I didn't even notice. Yes, this makes absolute sense.
Dude, dude. And that kind of plays into, I guess, the next thing I want to talk about in regards to with the algorithm. We kind of talked about it. How do you go about or finding that balance of feeding what's popular at that time and what you think will do well? 'Cause I feel like sometimes those are two different things. Because I've
Yeah,
had times where I've like, all right, what's the new hot thing out right now? Done a review on that thing or that movie. Video did okay. But again, my biggest video of all time on my channel is a video over an animated series that came out in like 2003 about a
yeah.
character that's only been shown in that show. It had like one or two comic appearances, but people love that character, or maybe just probably just the X Men in general. Honestly, I think the X Men are a fucking cheat code. I need to go back and do more X Men videos at some point. Um, but that's something that feasibly, if you're looking at like if I were to go to let's say vidIQ or people that professionally look at channels and I'm like, hey, I want to do a video about this thing that came out 20 plus years ago that nobody's really seen or there's not a lot of content about that thing. They would probably tell me, hey, that video may not do as well. Probably do something that is more algorithm friendly. But sometimes those algorithm friendly videos don't do as well. How do you find that balance of like, I gotta feed the streets, but I also gotta feed my soul?
So usually, like, if it's something, the easy part is that, like, I'm more critical about those videos that I know, like, this is like a in the times video. Like, this is the video where it's gonna work right now because of what the streets are talking about and whatever. Or
Mm,
like this is just like popular or whatever. I think about what I have to say. Because there are a lot of videos that I passed up on because I was just like, I'm not adding anything to the conversation. So and I think that's really important with just content in general because I notice the slop drama content creators. I call it slop. I'll be straight up. I watch the shit too. It's entertaining sometimes. um, but like the slop content talking about like drama in the YouTube space or whatever, like a lot of
mm,
times I notice sometimes they'll even do it with their own videos where they just kind of copy not because they wanted to, just because there's like so much limited information about these things, where they just kind of restate what somebody else said about something without really adding anything, or they'll like add some, they'll buff up their video by bringing up a situation that they talked about before and then re-summarizing the situation in the longest way possible and then not getting to the new information till halfway in the video. Sometimes these videos
mm.
are like an hour long. um I feel like if there is nothing for me to say, why make the video? Like I can make a video on something that's like maybe related to it and that I can
Mhm.
say more on. And then like, that would be my go-to for it. I feel like a good replacement for doing that is like if you see a topic that's popping, try to brainstorm ways that's like where you could tackle it at a different angle. Like for example, with all the Fantastic Four hype, I feel like a lot of people are like trying to find ways to talk about the Fantastic Four in comics, talk about what's it called? The Fantastic Four and like their different like movie counterparts and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But I feel like, and it's funny because the video came out like a year ago. There's this comic content creator who made a video on the Maker. Uh I
Come on, Rob.
the
Or
no,
Comics Explained.
no, it's not Comic Explained. It was somebody he like voice acted some parts of it too. If you it the video is
Oh,
called
come
like
on, Benny?
nah, not Benny, not Benny. Not Comic Historian. It was the it's like Matt Comics or something like that. I forgot his name, but like
There's
if you look up
a lot of comics creators.
the ultimate Marvel villain
Mhm.
because it's the maker, you'll find the
Right.
video. But like something like that, for example, that would be something where if you don't really see any reason for you to say something about the Fantastic Four, but you think the Fantastic Four is an interesting topic, all right, cool. Maybe talk about this version of Reed Richards that a lot of people may not know about because he has a helmet
Mhm.
on the whole time. People may just think he's just some random dude with stretchy powers.
Mhm.
Stretchy powers are not a unique ability in superhero comics.
Right.
So yeah, like it's kind of finding a way to still make it you, even if it's like even if you feel like, I'm not really hitting the point quite that much. I feel like it's more important for you to have something to say than to just jump into a conversation with points that have already been stated.
Now, to that same token, I want to kind of talk about like collaborations a little bit. Because to your point, because I don't think I've seen you do too many collab videos. I know you've like done some interviews with me for like the Dragon Ball Z doc we did a while back and stuff like that. But have you done many collaborations maybe that people don't see, or like is it something you want to do, or how do you like approach something like that to where maybe you see a creator that has a similar style that you really vibe with that you wouldn't mind doing that? Like how do you go about that?
Honestly, it's tough because it's like I don't like I remember there was this one like sometimes it's a combination of like being stressed about the amount of work that it will take to make that all happen. Like that by itself will steer me away from like even making contact cuz an
Mhm.
example would be like there's this one time where one day I saw like so many things about you need to collab, you need to collab with people, that's the way to grow. So I was like, bro, I need to make a collab video idea. And then I thought about something where I was like, oh, let me like invite a bunch of creators and we could like pitch video game ideas based on different anime, but they have to be anime fighting games with their own specific unique gimmick, and then we could have like the audience judge which one is the best.
That'd be sick.
Um, that I like the idea, but
Mm.
the problem was like when I started talking to everybody, I paused and I was like, how the fuck am I even gonna do this? Like, am I gonna edit this? I have to edit this. How am I going to edit this? What is my plan here? So I just didn't really, and this all came from like a video that I really want because I was like a while ago, I was like, I really want to make a video pitching an idea for like a Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game. That's
Mm.
like something that's been in my head for a while, and I was like, this could be a part of that. But thinking about like having to be like the master of ceremonies, I guess, and be like, yo, give me your part of the video, give me your part of the video. All right, let me put it all together and blah blah blah. Like it just that alone made me like really stressed, and I think I just got to like get past that because collabs are great. I think collabs are a really cool way when done correctly. I think a bad example of a collab is something that I used to do where I just used to like hit people up and be like, "Yo, we could play video games together and record it." And like
Right.
that doesn't do anything. I feel like if you're gonna collab with someone, you have to like you should come with the pitch. Like I would say, like don't come like I don't think like everybody's gonna be down for like the professional stuff, but like
Mhm.
still treat it as if you want to work together with another professional in the space. You know, like, yo, here's the idea. I did it. I'm choosing you because of this video you did and this video you did. And then usually when I get hit up with collabs like that, I'm like, oh hell yeah, because you saying all this already knows you did a little bit of research. You know what
Mhm.
kind of content I would want to be. I would want to add to, and because it's the stuff that I like, I want to be a part of it. Um, but yeah, I think it's just like getting past the pre-stress. That's doesn't even like of nothing happening yet. Of just like me making the idea.
I think with me, um, first and foremost, the scheduling. Because to your point, the thing that you hate, I don't mind. I love the putting it together aspect and the storyboarding of it, but it's the scheduling of it, one, and two, f- actually getting with people I like. Because I think my whole thing is there are a few creators that are either like at my it's gonna sound narcissistic, but at my tier level or below me that I fuck with, and usually I collab with them all the time in like an informal format. Like I'll have my homegirl on, and we'll do more podcast style videos. We don't have to have a script or whatever else.
Hmm.
Um, but when it comes to like maybe like a video essay, a lot of the creators that I want to work with are creators that are like exponentially bigger than me. And it's like, okay, cool. How do I get this person's attention? How do I even make this worth their time? Because if they're at that level, they probably already have like 15 different videos they're already working on or they have scheduled out. So having me ask them to give me a moment at a time without paying them, it's like, damn, that's gonna be tough. That's why I appreciate you so much for even doing what you did. Cause I was like, all right, cool. One, I was like, is this guy? Because this nigga is like one. Because I think at that point you did the interview with us already, and then you had already hopped on watch. I think I tried to either do it in that same session or maybe later on we did like the little bit of the mini interview for the Dragon Ball video. But I was like, damn, he's down to do all this shit, and I know he has to have a million things to do. Maybe in my mind, when a creator is at like 100K or above subs, it's like their schedule's everywhere. I already know how difficult mine is with like the couple thousand I already have. So I can't imagine what you guys already have. So it's like that whole aspect of working with the people I want to work with that I feel like would have a similar vision to me is getting their time
Hmm.
about and like finding that right time. Because sometimes it could just be where they would be down to work on it, but schedules just are conflicting for whatever reason because they got whatever they got going on. Um, and then obviously like the last thing is probably just the whole aspect of like some people I think have bigger egos than others. So it's like, oh, you don't even have 1,000 or even have this amount. Why would I waste my time doing this
Yeah.
with you? But
Yeah.
I mean, at least I've been blessed enough to not have that interaction as much. Maybe if I have, they just didn't respond. Maybe I don't know. But for the most part, usually in the few times I've asked people to collab, I'll most of the time anyway I'm doing an interview type of thing, situation is to kind of make it quick for them because you can get in, get out without having to do as much. Oh no, I went on a whole little rant there. Jesus Christ. Um,
No, no, I completely understand what you mean, though. Yeah, the ego be a fucking killer.
and that's the thing I've tried to really, really, really tried to keep with me, like at least to keep the humbleness aspect. Even like I'll be in like my comic shop that I usually go to when I'm picking up stuff, and I don't even like mention I have a channel to begin with because one, I feel like saying my channel name out loud feels so corny to me. Like I feel so
Yup.
cringy when I say it. It's like, what's it called? I'm like, ooh, I'll just show you a picture of it on the phone. Here. But on two, it's like not feeling because I think quick story time for this situation. I was in the comic shop to pick up out of my pull box. And I went to go get the new issue of Storm. I was blessed enough through a homegirl. She connected me with the writer for that current issue going on right there at the moment in time. So I did the interview with him, and I'm in the comic shop, and these guys are talking about the story. Like, we're wondering what the writer was thinking when he did this. And in my head, I'm like, I ain't tell you because I already know for real. And I'm like, damn, am I gonna come off like an asshole giving this information, or do I even want to go down this realm of like I know the answer to that question, but I don't want to feel like I'm being narcissistic and giving out that answer. And like when people ask, well, how do you know this? Then I'm like, all right, cool. But then on the other hand, it's like I have to promote myself if I want the channel to grow at some point, especially
Yeah.
to actual people that are interested in this stuff. This seems like the perfect environment to promote my channel, but I don't want to be that guy that promotes his channel. Like I've seen some guys around Atlanta where like they'll have like their channel ads on like detailed on their cars and shit. I'm just like, I get why, and I what's the word I'm looking for? I commend you on doing that. I was just so corny doing that. I could never do that. I feel so
Yeah.
cringy doing that.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That it is important as Tyler the creator said, you should wanna promote your shit all the time.
Mm,
I get it. I completely understand it. when he said it in that interview, it was just it felt like so ipso facto because he was like, "Excuse me, why the fuck not? Would I want to promote my shit that I worked hard on?" You know, when you say it
Right.
like that, it's like, yeah, yeah, I did work hard on this, you know, but yeah, it's definitely tough. I feel like for those moments, because I do it too, like where I just kind of if I see the spot to do it, I'll just kind of keep to myself and I'll wait for it to be forced out. Like somebody has to be like,
Mhm.
"What do you do for work?" And even then, I might just say I work in media.
Right,
Like
right, right, right.
because then after that it's a whole thing. Like it's like, "Oh, what like what do you talk about? Let me see your channel, this that and the third. I'm gonna watch you." No, you're not, but I'm gonna watch you. Like um, like it's and like I at the end of the day, like I sound like I'm complaining. I appreciate it. Like
Mhm.
this is the thing that I feel like as a kid, a lot of kids wanted. Like who wouldn't want to like walk into a room, you say you do this shit, and then everybody's interested in what you do, Like that's like the high school reunion miracles type shit. But it's still it gets weird because you know when you talk about certain things, unless someone's in that it's one of those things where unless someone's in that field with you, they're not gonna truly understand. Because like
Mhm.
if I were to say, I talk about video game lore. Someone I could easily say somebody be like, "There's a story in those video games? What are you talking about? Lore." Like if
Mhm.
people that don't know about video games would probably see my thing and think, "Oh, he's probably talking to a bunch of 10-year-olds." Meanwhile, my audience is mostly 18 to like 35 or whatever. Like it's always like a weird like disconnect. I feel like it's fun talking about when it's not awkward, but it's so easy to get awkward because since it's such a unique type of thing, it's not like we can't share office stories because I'm not in the office. We can't
Right.
share other different work retail stories because like there's so little to compare between what like a content creator would do in their regular life with like somebody who doesn't even work in media.
Mhm.
And then even when you're talking about people in media, it's still kind of different because then you might have people who are more so used to working in an ensemble and you're over here like I'm doing this whole show by myself. Like it's different. I feel like I had a one situation where I was talking to a friend about my work and I showed my camera and they came at my camera. I was like, I don't have money. Like
I'm poor,
that's
damn.
yeah, like do you think like he was like, you should wait till you get another camera. And I was just like, you want me to hold off my dreams because of money? That's like the antithesis of what every other dreamer has done. Like, what do you what people say. That's you just said what the antagonist said in every single biopic about an entrepreneur. What are you talking about? So it's so weird. It's so and it's funny because speaking on that entrepreneurship stuff, I feel like because YouTube is becoming a YouTuber is like it's like anime now has become so mainstream. This is
Mhm.
like the Kirkland brand entrepreneurship pipeline or whatever. So people see like they hear, oh, I'm a content creator, I'm a like influencer. I feel like is the main one that really get people going. But like
I can't even I
you
don't even say that. I
I
don't
yeah,
even
no, no, no.
yeah.
I hate influencer. I try to say content creator as much as possible. I heard content creator, I replace YouTuber, I replace stream, I replace all that. I was like, content creator. That sounds amazing. But yeah, no. Um what's it called? I feel like nowadays they hear content creator and they're just like, "Oh, you're one of those. Like you sell like classes online, huh? Like you sell those
Mhm.
ebooks and like trying to take people's money and stuff." So there's also that kind of negative connotation to it where like sometimes people hear content creation and they don't think you could attach passion to it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's quite the opposite.
Now, I guess a darker side of that, especially for I haven't well, I've experienced it to like a subtle extent, but it's more so like with a friend. But you being the size that you are in regards to success and been around for as long as you've been around, how have you navigated that whole aspect of the cloud chasing aspect of people wanting to interact with you because of the platform you have or because of a perceived amount of cachet you have? How do you kind of like navigate that space or like those interactions?
So the great thing about it is that like I am super antisocial. So like I don't even really
Hmm.
deal with that kind of stuff. Mainly, like, a lot of the all the friends that I have right now are friends that I've had before I even touch content creation.
Mm,
Um, I've had moments with, like, past friends who aren't friends anymore, kind of got mad at my work because of, like, reasons that I didn't really understand, and I was like, "Whatever." But yeah, no, whenever I feel that vibe, because I definitely do get that sometimes where, like, after a podcast or something, or like after I do a collab with somebody, it would be like, oh, let's try to, like, even though there's not, like, if there is no chemistry in the situation, and I feel like both people can feel if there is no chemistry.
right,
If
right,
there's no
right.
chemistry, they'd be like, oh, let's chat, let's try to, like, hang out, like, do this and that third and whatever, whatever. And it's like, what? Like, I don't, what do you know? Like, this is like, you're doing too much now. Cause I feel like when it's easing into it, because even for me, like, I don't, when there's a content creator that I like, and like, I definitely get the feeling, get the understanding of like, oh, there are content creators out there that I would like to be friends with, and like, that would be cool. My
Mm,
way of doing that is like, if I see them get a W, I'd go on their social media, be like, "Yo, good shit, bro." Like, if I see them take a L, I'm like, "Yo, I'm sorry, hope you're good." If I feel even more inclined, I'll message them, be like, "Yo, hope everything's okay. If you need anybody to talk to, like, I'm
right,
this random Joe Schmo, but I like, maybe I can help." Like, I'll try to partake in ways that I can actually help out. But I'm not going to just throw myself into the friendship spot and try to make all these things happen without any kind of, like, prior chemistry that's not professional. So,
mm,
yeah, I feel like it's hard, but I think it's just something that you have to kind of let, like, with friendships in the creator space and avoiding, like, the clout chasing folks. It's something where you just kind of have to find your group that you kind of mend with organically, like, without you having to try much. Like, 'cause it's just like with finding your regular friends, like, just, like, being able to have the conversation without worrying about, "Oh, damn, we can't talk about this because they don't agree with this," or, "We can't talk about this anime because they think it's trash," or whatever, like, or they'll yell at me or whatever. Like,
right,
yeah, it's I feel like it's only hard when you don't wanna tell yourself that you're reading the person, because sometimes you feel deep down, "Nah, something about this. I don't know. They're trying to use me a little bit," but, like, you don't wanna tell
mhm,
yourself, because it's like you think to yourself, "Oh, that's egotistical. Like, why would I say that? Like, why who am I to want to, like, to have somebody use me?" But, like, the content creator space, I noticed a lot, and this is why I'm happy with, like, just talking. Like, I talk to you, I talk to, like, my
mm,
boy Ignorant Rizzy. Like, I have, like, the few people that I talk to, because there are just so many leeches in the space who will friend you up, hype you up in stream, like, give you all this positive energy. The rating situation is also a big thing with Twitch, where it's just like people just trying to toss their audience onto people so that they can
right,
hopefully get a raid back one day. And it's like this whole quid pro quo thing that's kind of, it's annoying. I feel like no solid bonds are being made, and even during these, like, I feel like with these collaborations, I have fun because we're chatting. Like, this is
right,
the conversation. But, like, sometimes with a lot of these other collabs that I see in the space, it's just kind of like just kind of there for the content, not really there because y'all have good chemistry, not really there because y'all want to, like, vibe, and then also spread that vibe with your friend, with your viewers and stuff. More so just because, like, yeah, we're gonna do this because you have a lot of followers, and I would like to feed off of your followers, and I'm sure vice versa. That's why, like, I think that's a lot of the reason why, like, the collabs that I did, I I didn't care about traction. I didn't care about,
mm,
like, getting, like, I just had a good time. Like, I think there's this one collab that I recorded with Ignorant Rizzy again. I didn't
mm,
even get to put it out, but I'm fine with it because that was a great recording session. To this day, I will still say that was one of my favorite group recording sessions, because that was just a grand ass time. Like, I got to
mm,
play games with my boy, and we had a good ass time. And that should be what, like, before, it was all about having fun. It was all about having fun, and collabs were having fun with your bros, with bros who happen to also create. But that fun is kind of gone
the money
now.
is, like, really it's gotten so meta now, which I will say I feel like YouTube is a little bit it has some purity left in it, but just for the factor I think prototypical YouTuber like a you or anybody else, or maybe like my guy Ernie, Blur Without Fear. I think those are, I'm not gonna say very far and few between, but I feel like the people when they look at content creation on YouTube, they look at like a Kais, not like they look at streaming as like the
Yep.
thing. And they don't
Mhm.
necessarily look at, oh, script writing, research, presentation in this manner, da 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 da. They look at, okay, I need to stream, get this content out, microwave it, get the clips out
Yep.
there, cool. And that's kind of why I kind of stopped. I think I tried to do too much at one time. I was trying to stream, do videos, do this, do that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make most of this stuff, if not all of it, just kind of pre-recorded now. And if streaming is something that I can do to feed the streets while I'm working on a long form video, cool. But I don't have the audience now to even me to for it to be a beneficial thing for me at this moment. I just be doing it just to do it because it's the hot thing to do right now.
Right.
Um, but I think to your point as well, I think a lot of the issues that I've been having, not with anybody in particular, but more so with myself in regards to the networking thing. Because I've acknowledged I need to network more, especially for the fact like I live in Atlanta. There's like a million creators here, and then even with me, the fact that a lot of my videos are usually involving some sort of representation in some aspect. I use at this point it's damn near like a damn trigger word or like a joke for me. It's like waiting for me to say the word representation in a video. Um, so I'm in a black ass city with a bunch of creators who are black as hell. I need to network more. So like when DreamCon comes around, even more so because I'm connected with Blurred, but through the connections I made with people online, like the creative director for Blurred, like I met him playing 2K like in 2018. And we were just fucking around, did the podcast way before he even got involved with Blurred. So like now that I have that connection now and they're a sponsor for Dream, he's like, bro, you should really come out here because there's creators here, you need to network, da da da. And I acknowledge the benefit and the need for it, but I always feel weird because I've been to like BlurredCon or a few other conventions, or I've heard other creators talk about it, and it just feels like this leech fest. Like the parties they get into already is like, all right, if you don't have a certain level of cash or don't know certain people, you can't get into certain parties, which that wouldn't be the issue for me. It would be the whole aspect of like, if I go to talk to bro, is he even going to give me the time of day? Because or is he gonna talk to me and then see how big my channel is and be like, "Yeah, cool, we'll talk to you later." I'm like, "Well, damn, all right, that felt fucked up. Am I wasting my time here?" I felt like
Yeah.
I needed to get my platform to a certain level before I even went there for it to even be beneficial for me because I don't know who would even give me the time of day.
Yeah.
Because then I look at, I'm like, oh, I've had great experiences with you or Ernie where they've showed up on the channel, they've given me game even when I had like 10 subs on this channel before I even got to 1,000. I will admit, and I understand that most people aren't like that. Like you guys are an anomaly. I feel like in the whole creative space, especially with you guys being as big as you are and being around for as long as you've been around for. It's conventions, especially DreamCon is the biggest one. I think. 'Cause I think that's just the most corporate
Yeah.
one now because of how big it is and it's mainstream. And now I don't know. I'm trying to get better at the networking aspect, and I think the way that I've kind of gone about it is I have to. I'm a people watcher. I kind of approach how I approach people in real life. Where if I feel like I want to befriend somebody, I watch how they treat other people first and how they move for a
Mm.
long time. And with content space, it's just watching your content. I'm like, all right, damn, watch. Don't you shit? You gonna get dated here. I was watching you when I was in like hell high school for sure. Maybe eighth grade, dog. Maybe high
Oh,
school for sure.
man.
So this is like maybe like 2015, 2016, maybe 2017.
Copy.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember exactly. It's been a minute. And I'm like, all right, cool. His personality, how he interacts, I feel like we would mesh well if I were to talk to this person, or Ernie, whatever it may be. And usually I have that sixth sense to where when I interact with somebody, we usually have some, if not outright explosive chemistry at bare minimum, it's like we're cordial.
Yeah.
Because I think our personalities just mesh to a certain extent. With the content shit, it's like, all right, walking up to somebody random at this convention that's already inherently so number and money driven and try to have a genuine conversation without it feeling like I'm mooching off of them or them mooching off of me. I don't know. It's weird. So I
Yeah.
know I'm going to the next DreamCon, but I'm like, all right, my goal is to get to a certain level. So like next year, I feel like I'm talking to you as an equal and we're just having general dialogue versus me feeling like I'm pitching you something all the time because I'm meeting you for the first
Yeah.
time.
I will say because though like my experience is mostly with like what I've seen through Twitter and Twitch. I
Mm,
haven't seen like point blank like the create. I haven't been to a creator convention before. Like I haven't
mhm.
been to TwitchCon and I haven't been to DreamCon before. So I will say that because I plan on going to DreamCon next year. I it will be curious seeing it happen all in real time because
Mhm.
like when I know especially nowadays I see a lot of posts talking about how just like once again how a lot of the creator space is full of leeches.
Mhm.
Um it's just it's just really wild seeing like the use and like how upfront people are about it. And add to your point about Kai Cenat, like the idea, it's like a weird we put ourselves in a really weird cycle. People like Kai Cenat and Speed, like no offense to them, they do great work, but like people like them, they I think they got the world thinking that like you said, streaming is what you do. Like if you're a streamer, you
Mhm.
could become the next Michael Jackson. But like the problem with it is that like that's not how this normally works. They're both anomalies in their success. On top of that, they went the route of let's just keep on doing extravagant, crazy shit to and
Mhm.
keep on upping the ante. It's the jackass route. Like, once again, no offense to them, but it is the jackass route. Let's just keep on doing
Mhm.
more crazy shit so we can get more eyes on us. Like I think Kai is a cool dude. I think Speed's a cool dude. But would I watch them just do a talking head video? Either of them? No. Um, but like for them, that works. And they're able to grab a lot of attention, and that's fantastic. But like that's not the blueprint for everybody. Like I feel like people have to understand that like the blueprint is you gotta create content, you gotta do your streams and stuff, but you gotta create video content that people can go back to and actually watch. And
Mhm.
then on top of that, like you got like if you're gonna do collabs, it has to be for more than just getting more viewers. Because I noticed even when I was getting bigger with content creation, a lot of the advice that I was getting was like do collabs not to make friends, but to use their audience for to take advantage of it, take advantage of
Mhm.
and shit. So it just all this negative, like all this quote unquote, all these tips and stuff, it's just negative reinforcement to feed into this idea of like, yeah, be a streamer, collab, do crazy challenges, and then you'll become famous. But we're excluding all the other really important parts, like having integrity, actually having stuff that people can go back to. It's unfortunate, but like that's like the situation we're in because of all this.
Yeah, dog. It's it's very, very interesting in how that operates. Because you I'll like because to your point, I've seen guys who have gone that route. I think Sneeko is probably like the best example of that situation where like he started off being the prototypical YouTuber, or at least vlog. I think he was vlogging really heavy, but he did the talking head things. He was really big on the cinematography of his videos and things like that. He was really creative with it. And then he went the I'm not gonna say Kai route because Kai wasn't red pill, but he went the red pill route of doing big, crazy shit, saying crazy things for the
Yeah.
spectacle. He garnered the audience, but eventually he just kind of killed himself in regards to at least creatively.
Yeah.
YouTube, don't block this. Uh, he killed his momentum, and then it's even sadder because when he came back to try to like focus on the creative stuff, like people would let him know, like, bro, you may have done irreparable damage. You got to start from like the bottom, and I think
Yeah.
it's even harder for you because your face has been everywhere now, so it's hard for you to just start over because people already have this preconceived notion of you. So you can't just pop back out doing, oh, I'm a comic creator now, or I'm doing Marvel discussions or movie. I don't it's tough. So I think
Yeah.
people, to your point, are trying to follow like a Kai model. Because especially because I saw a Duke Dennis interview a while back where he was talking to I think Speedy, and he was like, if you were starting from ground zero now, how would you build up your creator platform? He was like, all right, cool. I start off doing streams here. I start off doing reaction videos to this person and having their stuff in my algorithm. So I get into the algorithm, then I would stream, then I would like rate their stream, then I would do this, that, or the third. And what he was saying made a lot of sense logically, but I'm like, most people, I don't think that would work for. I think it works
Yeah.
for you and it works for people that have connections to those people, but for the most part, I don't think that works for most people, especially
Yeah.
when it regards to streaming. I think streaming, like, as difficult as the YouTube algorithm is, and I think it's gotten a little bit better recently, but Twitch is like even crazier when it comes to discoverability. Like
Yeah.
you will
There's
go
like
years without anybody finding your shit.
yeah, Twitch doesn't even really have an algorithm. Like, you ain't got no followers, bro. Like, That's I can make a new YouTube channel. I could make a new Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I will never make a new Twitch. I will never restart that journey. That Twitch without an audience is so hard because it's like, where are you gonna find them? You just gotta hope somebody just sees your shit and is like, ooh, and clicks. Like,
And with the streaming thing, I think so much of it is based on like chat interaction. So when you got
mhm,
nobody in the chat or you got people that are like watching but not saying anything, it's like, damn, I have to talk for a
yep,
whole hour and figure out how to be entertaining with no interaction. It's fucking, it's wild.
yeah,
It's hard to figure that shit out. But yeah, we're like an hour 20. I didn't mean to hold you for this long. But again, I say it all the time. I want to give you your flowers for one being you, for being as open as you have been since like 3 years ago when you gave us the initial interview, doing the Dragon Ball interview video with us, and just collaborating in general. Whenever like I hit you up, it's usually like, damn, yeah, for sure. If I got the time, I'm there. Um, so I want to give you your flowers in that regard and just giving me the game that you've given me. If anything else, introducing me to my amazing editor now who will see this, my guy Akash, which shout out to him because he kind of went through a lot of stuff with the drama going over with Mumbai and Pakistan or whatever it was. I think he's good now, but dude has
yeah,
been a blessing for not just the success of my channel, but just in general of like having a partner in the journey of the channel.
yep,
He's like, yeah, bro, you can get to 50K by the end of the year. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know, but I'm glad that you think that highly of me and the content that you think
yep,
we can get there. And it's just the whole aspect of somebody believing in you that's not you. Because I feel like so much of content initially is the self motivation, but when you have somebody else that genuinely believes in what you're doing,
yep.
it makes the
Changes
journey a
the
lot
game.
better.
Yep,
So I want to thank you for that. Like literally a lot of my content journey and the success I've had, I owe to you from giving me the inspiration to the literal people and the connections. I appreciate it, dog.
of
I
course,
really do.
man. Yo, I really appreciate the thanks. Yeah, but like, yeah, no, of course. I'm glad I can like spread the knowledge because people keep on trying to hold it back like it's some like you could tax the shit and it's annoying.
Mhm. But yeah, y'all, if you guys, again, if this is your first time watching this, this is going to be the Captain's Lounge series. This is where I come to have content put out that is not scripted, so I can feed the streets something in between videos, but more so anything else, just to have genuine conversations with people that I think are cool as hell. So you'll never see anybody on here that I don't really fuck with like that, or at least haven't enjoyed content of to some extent. Um, but yeah, we'll still have the discussions around music that comes out, movies or whatever it may be, possibly. But I think for a good bit, I really want to niche down and have a lot of these conversations around content creation and people's journeys and whatnot, just to kind of give people that information and maybe give some insight into their favorite content creators' methodology that they didn't know of beforehand, to get a peek behind the curtain, if you will. But again, this has been Captain Diesel of Captain Diesel's Dojo, along here with my guy, the Black Masatadonte, Mr. AKA Conscience, AKA Mr. AKA. And forever and always remember,
You're now watching the captain.
and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.